In response to Joe Rogan calling Keith Olbermann unhinged, Keith Olbermann said this, amongst other things.
We have to stop coddling the morons who will not get the shot. We start by calling them what they are. They are all snowflakes and cowards and idiots and losers. And most importantly, they are afraid.
Do you know who Keith Olbermann is? Keith Olbermann has been around for a long time. He's definitely comes from the left politically. He was on ESPN for many, many years as a sports broadcaster for ESPN's Sports Center. I enjoyed him there in that role tremendously. Really sharp guy, really piffy, and on Sports Center, loved him. On MSNBC and other political outlets don't like him at all. I disagree with him highly. Keith Olbermann has over 1 million Twitter followers, and Joe Rogan didn't like something that Keith Olbermann said, and then so Joe Rogan responded, said that Keith Olbermann was unhinged, and this is Keith Olbermann's response on Twitter. I'm going to play the whole thing. It's 2 minutes long, and I'll stop it to make commentary.
Time to stop.
And let me give you a warning. He does swear. So if you're offended at swear words, don't watch this. Stop if you can't handle it. And if there are kids in the room, obviously watch it later when they're not around.
Coddling the people who won't get the shot. Booster shot. Mission accomplished. And it is time to stop coddling them, the ones who won't get the damn shot already. And our first step, you and I, is symbols, the language we use. We call these people vaccine hesitant, vaccine skeptics, anti-vax. We say they're protesting mandates and passports. They're making a personal choice. They're waiting for more information. They're making a medical decision. Bullshit! They're afraid.
All right, first observation. He had a different pair of glasses on. Then he took them off. He put these glasses on, not because necessarily he likes the way they look. It's because he's reading. For a 2-minute video, he took notes, which I'm surprised.
They're afraid to get vaccinated. Stop feeding their egos about what they're doing. Stop legitimizing it. Vaccine hesitant, they're afraid. Vaccine skeptics, they're afraid. Anti-vax, they're afraid. They're protesting mandates and passports, they're afraid. They're making a personal choice, they're afraid. They're waiting for more information, afraid. They're making a medical decision to be afraid. The snowflakes are afraid.
All right, a couple comments here. One, he drooled all over his upper lip. He spit on his upper lip. Two, how is this allowed in social media? This is bullying. I'm not a snowflake. I'm not of the camp where everybody has to be coddled. But in our current culture, you're not allowed to bully people. You're not allowed to call people morons, snowflakes, cowards, idiots, and losers. And of course, none of those are arguments none of those are arguments that support the position that you're putting forward.
Afraid of the vaccine. Afraid of being proved wrong. Afraid of doing what anybody else in the world tells them to do. Afraid of needles.
All right. I got this from another YouTuber, but they pointed out that hundreds of thousands of troops, the United States military, hundreds of thousands, have not taken the vaccine. Is he going to tell them they're afraid? In some areas, 50% of the nurses have not taken the vaccine. You think they're afraid of needles? Over half of black folks have not taken the vaccine. Is it because they're afraid? Well, fear, when you know facts about something, if you know something's dangerous, not wanting it doesn't mean that or does it mean you're afraid? Perhaps it's wise to be afraid. You don't want to take something that could or does harm you.
So no more pleasant euphemisms about what's going on here. Apart from the people who have legitimate medical complications about vaccines, we have to stop coddling the morons who will not get the shot. We start by calling them what they are. They are all snowflakes and cowards and idiots and losers. And most importantly, they are afraid.
What do you think of Kieth Olbermann? You know what? These people who he claims are ignorant and just afraid, there are a multitude of reasons that those people can give for why they don't want to get vaccinated. Those reasons are currently not allowed to be discussed on YouTube. Weird. Isn't that weird? One day in the future, the truth will come out. And one day, I believe, the facts will come out. Just so YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, banning certain things, these certain things you can't talk about. And then later on, we find out that they were completely valid talking points, completely valid facts. And I believe that's what's going to happen here. So people are not blatantly uninformed, afraid of needles. People have done some study. People who don't just listen to what people tell you to do. We should be very thankful for those who are going on quote unquote strike or taking all their PTO days at the same time. When an airline, all the pilots take their personal time off at the same time to, quietly protest mandates that they get vaccinated. We should be thankful for that. Chicago Police Department right now, I do understand that they're thinking about going on strike, or what the terminology is important so that, to not affect their pay or whatever it is. But the way the Chicago Police Department is going about it is they don't want to be vaccinated. Over 50% of the police force doesn't want to be vaccinated. And I believe the city of Chicago is saying, hey, stay home until you get vaccinated. So Chicago, wonderful. Half of your police department, you're going to have half as many police on the streets. You and I, regular people, we should be thankful for that they're standing up against something that's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional. And one day, I believe that the Constitution will ring free. Will show that these things that were unconstitutional. The left, the globalists, this isn't their end. This is a test. I believe this is the test for what's to come. What's to come is more control and a bigger problem than COVID, and that is climate change. They're going to use climate change. We won't be looking at vaccine passports. We'll be looking at carbon consumption cards. And you know what? I was very surprised. Maybe you aren't, but I was very surprised. I went to look at a flight, look at booking a flight recently. and it gave me the the day, the time, the departure, the airline, all that information. But it had a new line of information, and that new line of information was carbon. How much carbon did that flight create? I know some of them were like, I think like 514 megatons. And for flights that had low carbon emissions, there was like green lettering with it, or a little arrow that said, this would be a good choice because of the carbon footprint that this particular flight omits. I think one day, if you go on a flight and there's 514 tons of emissions and there's 300 people on that plane, I think it's going to go on your account. More control, more transfer of money from you and I to the elite, and more control. Lots of it. That's what they want. And they want to do it globally. They want to do it globally. So, in America, initially I think the Constitution is going to find that these mandates or press releases that people think are mandates, I think that they're going to be found unconstitutional. But we need to, here's the point of the whole video. We need to stand up. We need to stand up in your workplace and just say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do what you tell me to do, because it doesn't support science. It's against your conscience if it is, and not do it. If we don't stand up like some of these unions and the nurses are, and the airline pilots and the police officers, that all this globalism will come a lot quicker if we don't stand up. So go to btwnnews.com and check out the content I got there. Builder Summit coming up. If you appreciate what I'm doing here, click on support our ministry. Thanks for watching. My prayer is that God would bless each and every one of you. Take care. See you.